No, you're right. She was smoking.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a surprise. The beginning of the show. Welcome to the Artie Quitter podcast. It is just bustling in here with Hollywood. I always thought, damn, we should get a tree. We should have got a tree for the to make it look festive in here. Whenever it's so funny. If there's a tree in here, you know it's a time where I'm living with a woman. I've lived technically with 3 different women here in the 14 years. One only lasted about 6 months, but
you can still get a tree. It's
yeah,
not too
no,
late.
I know they would always they always say, let's get a tree. So I would do it and then decorating it and shit with the carols. I mean, I'm not anti it.
Real tree or fake?
No, real, always real. Fake tits, real tree. That's how it always went. No, but there's a place in Hoboken here. It's fun going. The old school tree guys. My buddy. Did you ever work selling Christmas trees once a year? Did you do that? I figured Ryan did.
I wasn't allowed to.
Oh, well, you're Jewish.
Yeah,
so I'm sorry.
No, my mother wouldn't let me.
Would you get offended by that if we had what we call a holiday tree? Is that fine?
I would not get offended.
We got a Hanukkah bush.
No, in fact, I get offended when people put the menorahs out too long. Now Hanukkah's over and they still got the menorahs in the lobby.
Right.
Not necessary.
I had a Hanukkah bush.
It doesn't bother me if it's not there.
I had a Hanukkah bush one holiday season when I was dating Linda Edelstein. So yeah, I don't know. Well, there's still time, but there's only one more podcast before the big break. 183 shows we're doing.
Wow.
183 episodes. Absolutely. So we have syndication. So we have Seinfeld type money.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and I did the math. It cost me $80. No, this actually turned into a little bit of a business. I want to thank Dan Filato publicly. How about that?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I'm never at the show when that happens.
I know.
Where's because it's never happened.
Get me the Kleenex.
It's clearly the Christmas show.
Get Dan the Kleenex. Is Rick Steves on? And Dave Juskow's been here several times. Thanks, Dave, for your humor.
You're welcome.
And your friendship over the years.
Oh, thank you.
And all that cocaine in the 90s.
You're welcome.
And of course, Ryan Reese, a regular now on the show.
Hey.
That's right. Absolutely. Ryan, of course, playing a big Egyptian birthday party. What is it, an Egyptian Christmas party?
Egyptian Christmas party this Sunday.
Ryan, I'm calling Ryan.
Now that I take offense to.
Ryan is a fearless comic. How old are you, Ryan?
I am 35.
Oh, okay. So what you do anything, and that's a testament, I think, to your talent. You could do any type of stand-up gig you
I
throw
didn't say
out.
I was going to do it well. I just said I was gonna
But
show
no,
up.
dude, a lot of people pussy out. And it's an Egyptian Christmas party.
Yeah.
So give me the negotiation process. You're on the phone with the guy.
No. I was at Dangerfields the other night. And it was a weeknight.
Dangerfield's the name of a club.
Rodney
in the city.
Dangerfield.
Rodney for your young kids. Rodney Dangerfield.
It's on the east side.
Legendary club that is now depressing. The comic strip we were talking about. I want to get into that a little bit, but go ahead. What
During
happened?
the week,
Yeah.
Dangerfields, because it's all the way on the east side and uptown.
First Avenue. Yeah.
That's where I
And
live.
61st.
Okay. Wow.
There's
That's where Scores was. The old
Yeah.
Scores was there. That's the only reason to go there.
oh, it's still there.
No,
it's
it's
not
now called
Scores.
Sapphire.
It's not. What is it now?
Sapphire.
Oh, I'm
I live
sorry.
right across the street from it.
When
You do?
Yeah.
when the law is onto the mafia, what they do is they change the name.
They changed the name, yeah.
Yeah.
That old Scores was, I had plenty of good times in there, man. When Howard used to throw those day parties.
Oh, you got to go to those, yeah.
Oh, I went to about the last 10 that he threw. He would get in a mood, man, and he would call that Lonnie guy up at Scores and say, look, Tuesday, we're coming there after the show. So we'd get there at noon on a Tuesday. 7 guys from the show and 50 strippers. Oh, my God.
We only heard the radio portion. We didn't get to hear any of the good
I
stuff.
got a lot of fun stuff happening. I mean, I got several blowjobs, I'm not going to lie to you.
That's
More than several. I never saw Howard do anything bad. I was by myself when I got the book.
very, very conflicting feelings there because it's a Tuesday at noon. You're in a strip club. You might feel like, oh, I'm a loser, but then you're like, oh, Howard Stern, really hot chick.
It's the only time.
I'm a hero.
That's a good point. The only time you feel like a winner Tuesday afternoon at a strip club is when you're there at the Howard Stern party.
So a lot of the times I didn't want to go there because we heard about your thing, the Howard thing, and then it's like, well, we're not going to get treated like that.
No, you're not.
I don't even want to go.
It's the only time I spent zero money. And as one of the guys in the studio, I was treated like one of the 4 Beatles. Like, the Galani guy. And again, I might have told you this story. The guy Lonnie would make the girls pretend they loved your career like even. So 4 strippers, young girls, Hispanic even.
Hispanic?
Are talking to me, yeah.
Hispanic even.
Very Hispanic. And Lonnie comes up to him and goes, "Girls, you're talking to a guy who starred in my favorite movie of all time, Dirty Work." Dirty Work, my favorite. And that one girl goes, "Really? My favorite is Lethal Weapon 3. The other part?" Okay. He grabs her arm and goes, "Tonight it's Dirty Work." He got physical. He grabbed her phone. "Tonight it's Dirty Work." She had a skin. "Oh, I'm sorry." Yeah.
I have never heard that story before.
Oh, I never told you that?
No.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I mean, anything went. As a matter of fact, he's dead now, but I'm getting a blowjob in one of the nooks and crannies. There were like, you would touch the wall and the door would open. It was like the Munsters. And 23-year-old chick from Tampa. I'll never forget it. Who had a fucking kid I had to hear about. But kid's probably about 18
You
now.
still don't get it.
Kid's about 18 now. If you go to the dollhouse, I'm sure you'll see her kid. I've been supporting the kid. As Dave Attell says, your mouth can't get pregnant. That's the name of it. Attell's first has a DVD out called Your Mouth Can't Get Pregnant.
Brilliant.
Yeah, the guys at the network don't like it. So I'm getting a blowjob. And I'm a big boxing fan. And in with another stripper comes a guy. I look up. It's Arturo Gotti, the boxer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he goes, "Oh, sorry. Real apology. Sorry." And that's the only time I had any interaction with him. Okay. 6 years later, I'm at a strip club, Squeeze.
Noticing a pattern.
In Weehawken. And Arturo Gotti comes in. He was a regular there. He comes over and he goes, "Hey, man, sorry about that a few years ago." I said, "What do you I forgot." He goes, "Remember I walked in on you there? That's not cool." I'm like, "Oh, yeah." I said, "That's fine. I'm over that." He goes, "I'm sorry, man." He remembered.
And he was upset about it.
He was upset about it. He goes, "I always wanted to say
stuck with him.
because I'm a big fan." A very weird death with Arturo Gotti. In Montreal, his wife, supposedly he was passed out. What are the details with that?
Colombia. His wife was Colombian.
Yeah.
And
Enough said. Yeah. What happened?
He went on vacation.
Yeah.
And supposedly...
Oh, it happened in Brazil or something, right?
Well, I thought it was in Colombia.
Okay, in Colombia. Okay, I'm sorry. Never go to
Supposedly-
Colombia with a Colombian.
Yeah.
They know too many people.
Supposedly he hung himself with her purse.
I'm not believing that. He seemed to like life a lot.
But her purse?
Her purse.
So the backstory on that is this is what the guys in Mendez Gym told me.
Right. Chuck Zito, I remember, was very upset about that. Chuck Zito, former Hell's Angel, good guy. He said that he was going up to Montreal to try to, find the girl and press charge. He wanted to press charges against her because he really thought that Arturo was murdered. And I happen to agree with that assessment,
Supposedly he smacked his wife around a little bit,
Right.
and they went on vacation. Her, she's from Colombia.
Yeah,
her brothers are cops. and
no
stuff
kidding.
like that. So it was
wow.
like, hey.
Oh, maybe that's what Zito knew. Okay.
Oh yeah,
So that's retribution.
He was definitely killed.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Who hangs themselves with their wife's
Nobody.
purse?
Nobody does. Especially Arturo Gotti.
Now, wait a minute.
I'm going to be a more masculine thing to hang yourself with.
Hold on.
Hang on 1 second here.
Sweetheart,
Charles Nelson Riley.
bring the Gucci? Can I see it for a second?
That's how Charles Nelson Riley kills himself. I'm sorry, I walked in on you getting a blowjob. But he really was upset. Like, he really was upset. Dude, it's fine. It's fine. The girl was upset. Yeah, that was one of those girls that she's got, she had adult braces. And but you didn't feel it. You didn't feel it. What a
I remember the last time I went to Scores.
You saw it.
The last time I went to Scores, I went with Attell and Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
And I guess a couple other guys. And that was when Attell did the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
It was, the girls were asking us if we wanted to dance. We were just sitting around, and you know how annoying that gets after a while.
Oh, yeah,
and he goes,
dancing. Yeah, that's the one place where you go, no, I'm not here to dance.
Right.
You
just
dance.
And they get really annoying about it after a while.
The strippers were saying that to you?
Yeah.
That's
what
a bad
do you want
stripper.
a dance?
Right. I'm sorry. Dude, okay. Well, no, that's what they do, yeah.
Well, whatever it is. Right. So, and then Attell just pretends he's in a wheelchair and goes, "I'd like to walk." And he's just making the motion of the wheelchair.
I'd like to walk.
And he moved his seat a little, too, which was perfect. Like it was like on wheels or something.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So the tough part about going to a strip club in Manhattan, Artie, is
money.
I feel like I feel like guys like you and Stern kind of ruined it for normal dudes.
Well, listen, I didn't always get that treatment. Believe me, I was one of those guys before. You're right, but the days I had in strip clubs with Howard, if I was paying a bill, the bill would be $85,000.
Wow.
A beer is $18.
Is that for
I
real?
walk in, you think they want
That's
my
for real?
$20? They're looking
Yeah,
for the
no,
big
I
fish.
know. Yeah, of course.
You're not exaggerating.
Well,
The bill
no,
would
I'm
be
telling
like
you,
$85,000.
you hear those stories about businessmen from the Midwest that go in there to put
Yeah.
down their credit card. The next day they wake up in like a motel on 10th Avenue and there's
Right.
$100,000 bill on their Amex. And then, the wise guys who run those places, like, sue us. And you get scared. I'm not going to sue you. I'll pay the money. It's but those strippers are, they're tough people too. They're pretty, but they're, you're scared of them.
Russian.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Russians.
Oh,
But now they're all Russian. Back then, where they weren't that. I mean, it wasn't all Russian. Now they're all Russian. All of them.
I haven't been to a strip club in a long time, actually.
I went to the one on Bourbon Street in Saraville.
Oh, wow. Those places.
About 2 years ago.
Is it all nude still?
With one of the guys from like your show. When you had the
Yeah,
direct
the Artie
TV
Lang show did not get the same treatment.
Yeah, no.
We were trying to get a strip club that would
No,
sponsor.
I think I opened for Bichetti one
you,
night out in New Jersey, and then I got $100, and I'm like, I'm going to Bourbon Street.
The world is your oyster at a strip club when you say, I just opened for Buschetti.
So I just
Come here, girls.
Well, nobody showed up. Nobody showed up in the club, and I was like, I'm going to take my $100. I'm going to go to this. I haven't been there in years.
What happened was, when I got the Stern show in 2001, Howard was dating Beth, but it wasn't as serious. So when he became really exclusive with her, which was long before they even got engaged, he stopped the strip club shit. But so I was there the first year and a half of when I was there. He was still doing that and sort of guilt free in his mind. And he would be in a mood and just say, Gary would come to you and say, look, Tuesday afternoon, just go to store. Wow. Walk in and he would have funny money. He'd hand out all that funny money that the strippers get, a wad of it, and that was yours, and it cost you nothing, and you could spend it at your discretion. And my thing was, I would always focus on a girl. Don't spread it around. You want to spend a lot on one chick, so it looks like you have a lot of money.
This is good advice.
Yeah, and I would every single time I would come in some part of a woman. The sales guys are fucking a chick. Oh God, they'd have to see their wife at the fucking whatever. It was. It became like ancient Rome. It was unbelievable. Steak.
Well, that's what Howard would always talk about, the
Veal.
food that they would serve there. And you'd always be like, ew. He's like, no, the food
It was
is
good
excellent
food.
there.
It was good.
I know, but who would want to eat that?
Me? Why? Is it gross to you? What do you think's on it? Like herpes or something?
Who knows? Probably it's full of AIDS.
You want peppers and AIDS? For your towns, you got peppers and AIDS. Want a 3 AIDS omelet?
I love that they promote it that way. They're always like,
3
you
AIDS
can watch the football game and have a steak dinner. I just
Want the HIV veal? Want the HIV veal? The low white cell omelet?
Oh man!
The no T cell bone steak. The low and T cell bone steak. Holy shit, that's funny.
I feel bad. I'm going to make that the promo.
Peppers and AIDS.
I think we got a new book here.
Oh yeah, of course. The new book by Artie Lang. Peppers and
Cookbook.
AIDS. Bad AIDS puns worked into your recipes. No, it was everything had gluten in it. It was amazing.
those are the days.
Yeah, those are the things.
Everything had gluten.
The chicks ate too. The chicks ate like men too, because when you're on meth and you're up for 18 days, you could use a steak. You don't get fat. When you haven't eaten or slept in 18 days, you don't get fat. If you have a steak, what?
I went to Scores with another comedian, and he's kind of
Which one? The new one on the west side?
No. Still Sapphire.
Okay,
but,
Sapphire, right.
He's kind of a dumb guy, and I looked over, and we had just eaten dinner. I saw him coming out with plates of food, and my first instinct was like, "Oh wow, this guy can eat." He's going in for a second time, and then I see the stripper eating.
Yeah, oh my
and I'm like,
God.
"Is she on a lunch break?" And And he's like, no, she said she was hungry. I'm like, she fucking works here.
Oh, I
It's
know.
so,
Never
you
go in
know,
the kitchen.
I walk by that club almost every day, and I
Yeah.
just see the strippers hanging out. They have a little section where they smoke.
yeah.
Right.
So you walk by every day, and you can see them out. It's kind of hot, but then it's not hot too.
No,
'cause
it's not
You
hot.
know, you can see how miserable they
My
are.
worst,
being
the
there.
worst part for me is when they have like some lotion they're wearing that's like a really strong
Oh, yeah,
coconut
that's the
scent. I
worst.
go,
Right.
what
It's always
scent?
that
What
angel.
smell is that masking? That's what I want.
Yeah,
I don't. I didn't think that. I didn't think about that.
Now, what
Oh.
smell is that?
It's that
covering up.
You're
no.
right. It's always that coconut scent. That's the only scent they
if,
have.
if you smell that much like the tropics, what don't you want me to smell? Oh,
Wow. I didn't
yeah,
even think about
because
that.
I don't think the showers at Scores have good water pressure for the girls.
I used to date a girl who worked there, but only as a tarot card girl. But she dressed like the strippers. And
Oh,
wore
I
that
knew her.
clothes. You
Yeah,
remember her?
the one who gave massages to, and the tarot card girl.
Yeah, Margaret.
I dated a stripper there.
You did you really? Yeah.
Wow.
I
don't know if you.
I had a couple of flings in there.
Yeah,
in the
flings,
early
flings,
Stern
flings.
years. In the early Stern years, it was like shooting fish in a barrel because you just had to promise them you get on the show. It was like Mecca.
Yeah.
The other websites, and you'd lie to them. Yeah, sure, you can come on the show. That's up to you. Yeah, sure, I make that decision. Yeah. So how long?
Oh, we went out. I still speak to her. We went out a couple of
That's nice.
times.
How's she doing?
Still working her way through school.
You know the place on La Cienega in L.A., the topless place. In
Crazy
LA?
Girls?
Yeah, no, not Crazy Girls. That's on La Brea. Had a couple of legs and eggs there, breakfast. That was big in Jersey, legs and eggs. The strip club I mentioned last night, my story, Buns Ain't No Bakery.
Buns ain't no bakery.
A kid found that on Twitter. He goes, I found it. I thought you were bullshit. He Googled it. I was in a newspaper article about it. It's now a gym or something.
Do you remember that place
Same
Heartbreakers
owners.
in down the shore too?
Buns Ain't No Bakery had legs and eggs. What?
Heartbreakers down the shore.
Yeah,
on 35.
Heartbreakers was good.
We used to go there for the wings. I cannot deny. We used to go there. They had a chicken wing special. But see,
Yeah.
that's what you should eat technically. I
Right.
can't imagine when they started putting the steak
Veal
and
piccata.
sushi. Right? It's like something has gone horribly wrong
When,
or
Ma-
right. I
Mario
don't know.
Batali's working at the.
And the women would get so angry when it was wing night because we'd be concentrating on the wings in the football game.
Right.
And they get angry.
Oh, well, yeah, they get mad.
We're dancing here.
Nothing worse than a mad stripper. No, but the single biggest mistake I ever made comedically, my comedic judgment was so off. I was at that place in La Cienega, and it was when I was doing the Norm show, the sitcom. So this is 99, I'm going to say. And the stripper said, the manager, she's got her big tits in my face and older, not great. She says, my manager tells me you're a comedian, you're on TV. I'm like, yeah. She goes, you know Ray Romano? At that point, I had met him twice. I go, he's like my best friend. Really? She goes, I wrote a spec script for everyone. I go, a spec script? Because, yeah, she used that term. I go, yeah, can you mind reading it? Maybe. I'm like, sure, I don't care. And then when she left, I ran out of there. But I would have that script today. I would have the spec script, the stripper.
You fucked up. You fucked up.
We could be reading it like a play right
Yeah.
now. Oh,
You
God.
fucked up good.
Yeah.
Although,
And plus, Ray Romano's
what if-
probably mad. He would have had a great episode.
what if that was the woman who wrote Juno? Wasn't she a stripper?
It wasn't her.
But, but she was a stripper, right? And-
Yes. What a horrible strip club that must have been. If a chick has an Oscar-winning screenplay in her, she's probably not
It
on.
was in the Rockford, Illinois area.
Oh, is
I
that
think.
right?
Yeah.
Man, that sounds like a great place.
What's her name? What's her name?
Dakota
something, right?
Smith or Dakota. What is
Dan,
her
you
name?
know the name.
Dakota.
He pretends not to know. He's afraid of my
I forgot.
She wrote that. Then she wrote the.
She wrote
Jennifer
a couple of them.
8. with
She
the-
did? Jennifer Ace.
No, I got that wrong. It's something.
That's an older movie.
Jennifer's Body.
Oh, I never even heard the
With
second one.
with Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried.
Oh, it was a horror movie, right?
Horror movie, but
Yeah,
it's still hot because Megan Fox was in it.
Yeah, they're like lesbians or something?
Not really, but they have a lesbian scene, of course, because otherwise, why are you making
not?
a movie?
Yeah.
Diablo Cody.
Diablo Cody.
Give me
Right.
Diablo Cody.
And then she wrote some series, right?
She's one of the, is it Two Broke Girls she's involved
No,
with?
no, that's Whitney Cummings.
No, I think she's...
Whitney Cummings. Whitney Cummings has $100 million.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, my God. That makes me mad.
Unbelievable that it's unbelievable
I
that
can't
her
even talk
series
about it.
didn't do well, but then this other one that she wrote on a lark.
I know the one she was on didn't do well.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we had decided what was wrong with it.
You're on it.
You're on it.
Two Broke Girls is just Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah. Whatever. It's I watched that show because I
Schlemiel
like that blonde girl on it a lot.
She's
find her
hot. I
very
followed her
attractive.
on Conan once. And she
you
in
did?
real life, the
Sexy.
blonde girl.
Yeah.
She's
Well, so the
smoking.
other girl's hot too.
Smoking.
But I just watch it for that. Otherwise, it's just unwatchable.
Yeah,
It's like
Well,
really
that's what
difficult.
America wants. But I had this thing of Dave. You'll understand this way more than Ryan, obviously. But last night, I did this show for Ari Shafir. He did a live version of his Comedy Central show.
I heard.
Yeah, so it was a fun time. But the young people afterwards, people coming up to me and saying stuff like, "I grew up listening to you," and me and my brother watched Mad TV, and we the first year you were on, blah blah blah, and I realized they technically really grew up. I mean, so I started on Stern almost 15 years ago. So if they were 14, they're 29 years old.
I mean,
now.
look at
20 years ago was Mad TV. If they were 10, they're 30 fucking years old now.
I always use Jay Okerson as an example. He grew up on Attell.
Right.
And then he started opening for Attell, but he
did an
grew up
Attell
on
impression the first
He does
year.
an Attell impression.
Well,
I
he
said,
did. I mean,
right? No, he's
Jay got over
branched
that.
out. But I'm saying
That was
at
a
the
big thing
time,
with people.
Don't have him open for you. I mean, he's a nice guy. And he's a really good comic.
Right.
But the crowd is seeing it.
Yeah. Jay in the beginning
But it's
was
fascinating,
very much doing a Dave Attell impression.
Yeah. And Amy Schumer grew up on all the guys that she's working with now. It's unbelievable.
Well, but that really, I don't know, for some reason last night it really sort of like hit me. Like, wow, they did.
Yeah.
Touched a lot of lives.
It's
Yeah,
fascinating.
none of them look like winners in particular.
A lot of children.
None of them said, I'm in med school, Artie. I'm taking a Tuesday night off med school.
You just don't meet those ones.
Yeah, no, I just I grew up and I'm like, yeah, you did, I guess. And then what does that mean? Like, I think of the shit I said on that show. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, but they love it.
Are
though.
you okay?
You were amazing on that show. Lately, also, by the way, I'm not. But
Howard's
you
back,
on
by the way.
on the Caroline's one with Gilbert.
Yeah.
I think you were the funniest I've ever heard you before. I couldn't. I was walking down the street laughing so hard.
Yeah, that was good.
You were amazing. It seemed like it would be scripted. I don't know where you're pulling shit out of your ass.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Well, so
saying
much
it
shit
'cause-
comes out. So much shit has happened, and then it leads you into thinking, oh wow, that happened. That's related to this, blah blah blah. But that was so funny. That technically kicked off the festival, and Gilbert and I aren't used to getting any sort of positive from certainly from press people. But the Village Voice, I guess, reviewed every show in the festival, like all 600 shows. They voted that number 2, the number 2 show in the festival. Me and Gilbert doing the
Now we need to know what number
the
1
live
is.
podcast was Stand Up for Heroes was number 1.
Boring. It's a lot.
But I think we should have been number 1. I think technically
It
we
was
were the
amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
They,
I was supposed to be there that night. Frank invited me, but
we always have Gilbert can get you in trouble, but I tend to just give myself up to I'm like, fuck it. Why don't I try not to be
now I remember
offensive.
some of your when you were talking about that the president would kill baby Hitler.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'd kill baby Ryan Gosling.
Ryan
that's
Seacrest.
unbelievable.
Baby Ryan
And
Seacrest.
baby A-Rod.
Baby A-Rod I would kill. Yeah, Baby Hitler is a no-brainer. Baby Whitney Cummings. We wouldn't have 2 programs. I love Whitney. I'm friends with her. I guess. I don't know. Every time I see her, how you doing?
Why wouldn't you?
How's your yacht going? So that is an odd thing. It's I guess everybody goes through it. You get it. I'm 48 years old. It just hits you on the head. Like nights like last night, just really sort of wow. And people seem like Ari Shafir's 41. He seems so much younger.
He
People have
does.
Energy.
Yeah.
Like this energy they have.
I think it's drugs.
I
think that's what they. I think that's what they call
You're
it.
telling me he's 4. I'm surprised. I thought he was in his 20s, actually.
I let the audience give me, and that is true. The audience can give you energy. Like if they.
That audience loved you that night. There wasn't that many people there
Oh, you
either,
did great
right?
last night.
Caroline's I'm talking about.
I'm saying, but when they know you, that is half the battle as a comic, man. Stand up, pre-Stern and after it got so much better, easier because they're there for you. They're there. They know about you. Like, the opening joke on the Jack and Coke special I did is, I'm glad Heath Ledger died, and I'll tell you why. That gets like a 5-minute laugh because I'm saying, and they know it's going to be some. It's they let you get away with shit, and they know me, and it makes stand up so much easier.
I know
it's just a way easier thing to do.
The way I remember in 1983 when I was starting to do comedy, I always said to people, I'm like, I'd be a lot funnier if people knew who I was already. Like I'm not.
Well, then you realize it's why you were funny in high school, maybe, because they all knew you.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, right, when I see you do a set, like I watched you when we worked at Levity Live together, and I really did, and you did amazing. But I'm saying to myself, God, this is so much of a harder thing for him to do than me, because these people are there for me, and they know of me. It makes stand-up just, I mean, it's just a way.
Now, but when you started, it didn't.
No, it was, I had a period of time where it was harder, but yeah. But,
and if they know
I try to remember that at times when you're writing stuff. It's hard writing because you go, is this really good? Or is it just good because they know who I am? You know, that type of thing.
Oh, they'll come out because they know you, but in the end, you have to deliver because they're.
I always say you get away for like a minute with that, but then you got to be funny after a while. But you take shit like that for granted. But I don't know, for some reason last night that did hit me with that, because there's a Tuesday night in the Village. Who's going to be there? It's probably young people in their 20s. You know, that's who go to. Well, you find that's who goes to clubs of 20-year-olds, right? People in their early 20s.
Every club's got a different audience. That's very important.
You know, I went to see
a
Tell at the Stress Factory, and I had also gone to see Gary Goldman at the Stress Factory a couple of weeks ago because my niece is going to Rutgers, so I thought I'd bring her to the show there.
Yeah.
And it was definitely all people in their 40s.
Right.
And then the drop-off was 16.
Well, my crowd is old because they're people. Yeah, my crowd is older.
But I thought maybe that was a Jersey thing. I don't know.
It could be a road thing, but I think a lot. So that's a pizza, man. I ordered a Sicilian.
So obvious.
I was joking for a pizza in the other room. It's a Sicilian with extra cheese. The strip club sent it over.
Buns, not a bakery.
Buns ain't no bakery. Oh, jeez. I used to play Santa there. Oh my God.
You played Santa at a strip club, and then you played Santa and Elf.
That's right.
You were doing character work, for God's sakes.
I forgot about that.
You played Santa at a strip club?
In Newark, called Buns Ain't No Bakery. This is a story I told last night on our show.
I'm sorry. Wow.
Well, I used to, and with the fake beard, we'd go in the back and do a tremendous amount of coke, and like the next morning, I'm hitting the Santa beard to get coke.
Why are you always in costume when you're doing coke? What is that?
Well, I like to get dressed up. You're not going to do cocaine like that. You're not coming to my friend Pedro's house like that.
I always put on a jacket and tie before doing coke.
You had an ascot on, I remember that. But there was a strip club called Buns Ain't No Bakery. That's so funny. If I said, girls, I'll be playing this in a Christmas classic.
You'll see. You'll see.
Yeah, whatever, Artie. You're always talking.
How do you think they feel? They're the ones getting naked on stage. And the guy comes in once a year, Santa. He's famous.
No, I thought about it after I told that story, and then I said later on at the hockey, I'm like, wait, by this point, I'm famous? Easily the most successful person in the history of my high school. Well, Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta.
He's good. He's good.
He's gone downhill a little bit. But yeah, Ray Liotta grew up 8 blocks from me, but he's 14 years older, so I never knew him.
But he's got that new show coming out with Jennifer Lopez.
He's on a show, a series?
It's coming up in January, and I wasn't going to watch it because Jennifer Lopez is in it, but Ray Liotta's in it, and I do like him.
He's an interesting actor. He really is. Those tequila commercials, you think he's just going to do something crazy.
Yeah.
Nuts. Interesting guy.
He was, that there was a movie Heartbreakers, I think, with Sigourney Weaver and.
Oh, that's the strip club down the shore.
No, maybe I got that wrong. I don't know. It was done by the guy who did The Simpsons. He directed it. Crap.
You mean Matt Groening or James Brooks?
No, another guy that used to be a writer, but he was also executive producer, and he directed a couple movies. He also did Get a Life with Chris Elliott.
Al Jean? I'm trying to think of Simpsons writers. I don't know. I named every Simpsons writer I know. I mean, Sam, but I knew
he created Get a Life with Christopher Guest. They had a falling out. And then
Christopher Elliott.
Chris Elliott, I'm sorry.
Yeah. That was a funny show.
Yeah, that was amazing. Well, they had a falling out, so on the DVD, you're not getting the good commentary because I think there's 2 separate commentary tracks or something because they couldn't get along.
I'm trying to think of who
That's
else
why
it could be.
Come to DVD for a while. I just can't remember the name.
Heartbreakers was the name of the series?
No, it was a movie, and Sarah's actually in it too, and Zach Galifianakis. They have small parts.
What year?
Early 2000s. Sigourney Weaver and Jennifer.
And it's a comedy.
Hewitt, Jennifer.
Love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They play mother and daughter. Yeah, it's a comedy.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I
And
know
Ray
exact-
Liotta's in it, and he's hilarious.
He's
in
great
It.
in
He's
it.
great in it. He saves the movie. actually.
Sigourney Weaver and Jennifer Love Hewitt would play like bank robber, mother and daughter bank
like
robbers.
scammers.
Yeah.
Like Gene Hackman's in it too.
I know the movie. I can't think of the name.
I
But a
can't
guy
think
from
of
The
the
Simpsons
director.
did that?
The director used to write and direct The Simpsons as well.
I don't know.
And he's
I remember that being a movie that you went to see. I remember
it's
seeing
not
that
on a plane. It's
Yeah,
not
it
on a
was,
plane.
it was good.
Yeah,
I remember seeing
well,
it.
I just remember going, this is all right. But then Ray Liotta came on, and he was great.
He's one of
They-
those-
They were like, "How do you know how to take a body?" He goes, "I'm from New Jersey." Like, how do you know how to get rid of a body? I'm from New Jersey. Please.
I ran into him one time in Beverly Hills at the Havana Room, and my buddy Danny and his girlfriend, who was a hot Filipino chick, was in town visiting me, and I went up to Liotta. and he
Merkin.
said-
I'm sorry.
What's it called?
Merkin. That's the guy who directed. Sorry,
Oh,
it came up to me.
H.L. Merkin.
David Merkin. Stephen.
Look
Sorry.
up that. Dan,
Go ahead.
look that up. Google
directed
Sigourney
Heartbreakers?
Weaver and it's the name of the movie is Heartbreaker.
I think it's Heartbreaker.
Yes.
David Merkin.
yeah.
David Merkin.
He directed it.
I think so.
David Merkin.
Yeah. Sorry, it just.
I
didn't
would have
direct.
never guessed that in a million years. But good movie.
He did that and Get a Life. It's a pretty good resume, you know. And The Simpsons.
I went up to Liotta at the time. I was on the Norm show, and I said to him, and he recognized me because he's a fan of Norm.
Oh, wow.
So he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, I'm a fan." I go, "Jesus Christ, I was about to talk to you." I said, "I'm from your hometown." He goes, "Get the fuck out of here." I go, "Yeah," and he seemed on whatever ecstasy, blow, because he was talking to me like the last half hour of Goodfellas. Like, yeah. With that helicopter right fucking there.
Right there.
And he kept talking about union. We had the same teachers at the junior high.
Wow.
And he kept, "You're from Chile?" "Yeah, I'm from Chile." He started hitting on my friend's girlfriend. And they were about to get engaged.
Oh.
And my friend was so starstruck, he didn't care.
Yeah, you just let it happen, right?
He's kind of a Guido guy going, "I don't give a fuck." And I go, "You really don't care?" So he's kissing, like he's necking. And she's like, "Well, what should I do?" And my friend is laughing. We don't know what to do. And he tried to get her in the bathroom. So he goes with her in the bathroom. And they came out in like 10 minutes. And we're like, "What happened?" She goes, "I just did some coke with him."
Oh, I thought it was going to be
Yeah,
scandalous.
that makes me feel better,
I
actually.
said,
I don't
okay.
know why.
I said, "Can
Did
we
they
go
get married?
Can we go in the bathroom?" But he was very. I don't know. Should I say that? Should we cut out the coke thing? I don't know.
I think everybody knows he's out of his mind. It's got to be a reason, right? I mean,
Maybe he's just crazy.
every movie you've ever seen, he plays the same part. I mean,
Maybe a lawsuit would be good for publicity. I don't know.
what's that other one where the girl's named Karen as well? The one where he plays a cop,
Karen.
the crooked cop.
Well, her name's Karen in that too.
I think it is
the one with Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
Is Kurt Russell in that?
Yeah,
Oh,
Karen.
I needed that.
how could you do that, Karen?
That's all we had.
They never would have found it.
Yeah, right. They never would have found. It's in my pussy.
I had
Is the cocaine in your pussy,
I
man?
had some nice veal. I was gonna heat up as
That
an
the
appetizer.
best throwaway line. There's such subtle shit in that movie with food.
Yeah.
First of all, when they're eating at
In jail?
Pesci's mom's house.
Oh, that's amazing.
The only guy who wants ketchup is De Niro, and he's the only Irish guy.
Oh,
he's
that's
putting
funny.
he's putting on peppers and eggs, potatoes and eggs.
Oh, it looks so good,
Potatoes
that
and eggs,
food.
and he's putting ketchup on it. And that's a subtle thing that I heard Scorsese. I know that for a fact. Said that. Fucking Paul Sorvino with the razor.
Yeah,
cutting the garlic in a
in
robe.
jail.
Why else would? There's no reason to have that in the movie.
It would
It's like-
liquefy
It
in
just
the
looks
pan.
cool.
It was a pretty good system.
The other thing is he goes, he's in a panic. He's got guns, everything in the back of the car. He says to his younger brother, "Don't let Karen touch the sauce."
right.
She's Jewish.
Also,
Don't let Karen touch the sauce.
Also, when he asks him for money, I think at the end he's frying up sausages. Paul Sorvino's frying up
awful.
sausages.
That sausage looks amazing.
It looks amazing,
I
and
gotta
it's just
try
in
my-
a stupid little frying pan. Why is he doing the cooking?
And Scorsese had a prop guy said, "Okay, get the sausage." Like a prop guy, the sausage is perfect.
It's you can smell it while it's frying. You're like, oh,
He gave him $3,000 in cash. That's what he gave me for a lifetime. Now I got to turn my back on.
now I got to turn my back.
That's a perfect movie. The details of it are just like, why would you have a shot of Sorvino? It doesn't move the plot along. It's just he's in a robe with
the
a razor
slippers.
cutting the garlic. Oh my god, the details.
Yeah.
and the
And
food
it would liquefy in the pan.
Oh, the
I've
way-
tried to try that sometimes. You know, like just
You do-
from the
with a
movie.
razor?
Yeah.
And what he's talking
It's a pretty
about
good system.
The conversation Scorsese's father, who plays Vinny, is having when they're cooking. We baseball batted those two guys.
Oh, that's Scorsese's father?
It's Vinny. Yeah. What is that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Crack addiction?
No, look at the headline.
Ray Liotta sick of fake cocaine.
I don't think we have to worry about the
Who is
lawsuit.
it?
A hard man actor is sick of playing drug addicts because he hates using fake cocaine. Well, De
that
Niro.
big-
I was worried about saying something else about him too.
De Niro suggested to Belushi. Belushi was supposed to do coke in a script that they wanted him to do when he was dying, and supposedly De Niro said, "Just use real coke. That's what I always do."
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're fine.
Well, yeah, that other stuff that's only just B12. It's kind of gross.
It says he's crack addicted.
Let me go back to
I
it.
guess smoking it is like, oh god. Did you ever smoke coke, Dave?
no.
Yeah, I never
That's
did.
Oh, well, I put
That's
it on.
crack, right?
Well, no, there's freebasing.
I might have put it
It's
on
different.
weed.
What if it's in a cigarette? What's that?
That's just smoking. It's not crack.
I
But it
put-
could be unless it is crack. It doesn't. Yeah, I've smoked it in a
Yeah,
cigarette.
just put it on weed or something.
But a banana boat, we used to call that.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
I don't know
Cigarette
why.
is banana boat?
Coke on it because bananas come from where they have cocaine.
No, that was an ad underneath it. If you're addicted to drugs, so
You Google Ray Liotta. Yeah, my buddy had that because freebasing was way expensive. It just burned it away. What crack did was make it. The high only lasted 5 minutes, but it was cheap, right? The guy, who was the guy, the black comic who died of a crack addiction? He did stand up in the park. He was
Did he have
homeless-
Oh,
AIDS?
yeah,
Did he-
Charlie.
Charlie
Yeah,
Barnett. Charlie
sure.
Barnett.
Sure. Couldn't read.
Chappelle was gonna. There was a script called King of the Park. He did stand up in Washington Square Park, and he was homeless. Died of AIDS.
Of AIDS, right.
Right.
Because they were afraid one of the waitresses at the Boston Comedy Club had slept with them. They were
Right.
afraid she had AIDS.
He was on the original SNL cast.
She was so hot, though. We
He
let it go.
was?
He was. He got replaced by Eddie Murphy, supposedly because he couldn't read.
You're kidding me.
Really?
I never knew that.
Yeah,
That's
I never-
Oh, yeah.
But he had a joke. One of his great jokes about crack was good. One good thing about crack, man, it brought the price of pussy down to $5. That was the thing. It was way cheaper, but the high didn't last that long, so you had to keep going back. So it just literally enslaved neighborhoods. You just had to keep going back for more. But freebasing was you had to have insane money because that's what Richard Pryor was into. There were stories of Pryor taking out like $500,000 at a time from his bank account.
And he would smoke cocaine.
Yeah,
'Cause they didn't have crack
He would
back then,
freebase
right?
coke. It was before crack.
Yeah.
But you got to go, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. What is it? 5:10 already?
I got to get a boat at 5.
He's got to catch the boat.
5.
We can actually watch him catch the
Ryan,
boat.
by the way, I don't know if our fans know this. Ryan does warm up for Seth Meyers' show.
That's
Late
so
Night with
cool.
Seth. What? So you're here tomorrow?
Tomorrow, my buddy's mom passed away, so I can't.
Oh, really? Okay.
He's just saying that because he knows it's Machete Thursdays.
But I set off for 2 weeks, so if you need me.
Are you going to be in town? Yeah. All right, because we'll probably do a couple of shows. Great job, Ryan.
Thanks for having
Thanks,
Ryan
buddy.
Reese. Happy New Year. He's a good man. Yeah, the money I saw people go through, they had to start doing crimes for that shit, like
Yeah.
smoking cocaine. So how's it going, Dave? How are you doing? Everything cool?
What the hell is this? Just
I don't know. It's always good seeing you. It's always good seeing Dave Jusko. It is. I've always. How long we've known each other for 20 years.
Yep, 20 years.
And there's times you go on and off seeing people, but I always like seeing Dave.
I like seeing you too. In fact, I was just telling Dan that the best New Year's Eve I ever had actually was last year because
Yeah,
it
we're
was
at the-
you, me, Attell, Sarah,
We're
Jeff,
just-
all my best friends at
Everybody's
the
at
Cellar.
the Comedy Cellar. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Are you going this year? Because we're going to tell. I'm playing the Cellar.
Oh, you are?
I'm
I don't
doing-
have any plans. I wasn't sure if I didn't know if everybody would. I don't think it could ever be like that again.
Well, yeah, Sarah was in town for some reason.
Yeah, so it was
Sarah
great.
Silverman and Jeff Ross was in
I
town.
mean, all my best friends I'd want to hang out with anyway.
It was a fun time. That was a fun time. And
Yeah, just
I'm-
even the picture of all of us is a classic.
it's a great one. I tweeted that. People loved
Yeah,
that.
it makes me happy.
I'm doing. I got a midnight set. I'm doing
At the Cellar, you're the
I'm
midnight
yeah,
performer.
I'm the midnight
Are you
guy.
doing the countdown, or
Yeah,
you'll come on after?
I come on at the count. They go 10, and then I introduce.
Who's emceeing that night?
I don't
One of
know.
the colored fellas.
Probably Will Savens. I don't know. William Stevenson is emceeing, which means he's starting to walk from his apartment right now. William lives on 68th Street, and the Cellar's in the Village. So they call him 2 weeks before he's supposed to be. And they say, William, start walking. Start walking to the club. If you time it wrong, and William Stevenson is and I love William. This is all out of affection, believe me. But if you time it wrong and you end your act, and you say good night, everybody, thank you, and William starts to walk, and you don't give him a notice a minute before that to start coming up, you need about 4 minutes of material.
It's hard to get through to that stage on there.
I can't. Lately, I'm like, yeah, how many? Can you sell every inch of fucking floor here?
I get nervous about it. A tell brings me on sometimes, and I get
Yeah.
worried that I'm just going to trip over somebody
Right.
and look like a complete ass.
People are on
then,
top of you.
before I get onto this.
Well, it's a great place to kill. The worst place to bomb because the people are on top of you, and if you ever don't do well there, you literally feel like you want to just put your hands on either side of you and just disappear into the back wall. It's like bye, like Dracula.
Well, that's why I'm. They're nice to me there, and SD likes me a lot, and they want me to perform there.
Right.
But I refuse to because I don't want to ruin my good standing. at the club.
You're right. Yeah, a lot of people go there not to do. Well, it's become the Cellar again. It's become like Studio 54.
Oh, my
in the
God,
fucking
it's
70s. It's the hottest.
unbelievable.
Like celebrities go there just to hang out.
Yeah. De Niro was there like a week ago, right?
Yeah, De Niro's
2 weeks
got.
ago.
Well, is that true? De Niro's got this stand-up comedy movie coming out where he plays a comedian.
That apparently Jeff
years ago, De
Road or
Niro came
something?
to the Cellar with Jeff Ross.
Yeah, I remember.
And Jeff was supposedly
It's
writing part of the script because he was playing a Catskills comic,
Yeah.
which makes sense because Jeff was writing some of the jokes. And but then I guess that was a long time ago, at least 6-7 years ago.
But I think it's happening again.
and now it's coming out. I guess this
But
gets put on.
something happened with Jeff where he's unhappy about it. So,
Oh yeah, well I think it was supposed to go. That happens all the time in movies, but it didn't go.
Well, he always, Jeff. It's really funny. He is such a friendly guy, and he's friends with all these people.
Right.
And then he doesn't have like a normal falling out with people. You don't know what it's from or whatever. But
Yeah.
so now he's mad at De Niro, which is hilarious.
Is that? I didn't know that. He's mad at De Niro.
He's always, he's but he would never tell you. You can just tell. Like he has a problem with De Niro. Like he had a problem with
Somebody bring
when
up
he
the-
was on the Charlie Sheen tour.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, why did you leave the tour? It doesn't matter. The important thing is that apparently there was a problem there. I don't know. And
bring up
he's
the
such
movie-
a nice guy. It's always it's you assume it's the other people.
You bring up the movie Raging Bull, and he goes, "Whatever." What do you mean, whatever? I don't want to talk about it.
Well, this movie is in pre-production, and it's De Niro and Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, because she's come into the. Oh, well, she came in with John Mayer, I think. Right?
Because she's
Or something
great
like
at
that.
telling old jokes.
Yeah, she's really good.
She is an old joke. I'm kidding.
Are you?
I mean, it's it's the anger. It's not me. It's the peppers. It's the peppers and AIDS thing.
That's my favorite.
It's the most inspired thing I've ever said. Okay, so that's in pre-production. So it's going to be shot. Does it have Jeff Ross listed anywhere?
Yes.
Right?
Oh, it does?
Jeff Ross and Art Linson as the screenplay.
Oh, that's
What a
good, 'cause
major thing for Jeff.
Yeah, that's a good
That's a
thing. But
major
I think
fucking thing.
Yeah, good because he told me that there was a
I
problem
guess
with that.
he's okay.
credit.
He hates Jennifer Aniston now. I'm fine with Bobby, but Jen is Bobby's all right. But
Well,
Don't get me
what's
started
funny?
on Jen.
You know what's funny? I think I can tell this. There was a little girl that I knew, and she was dying of a brain tumor. I know it's not funny.
Jesus
but-
Christ.
So I was trying.
Where's the pizza?
It's in
sorry.
the back.
I'm kidding.
Oh, so we were trying to help, and I made a compilation of the Jackass movies, rated G. I edited to a G-rated version of Jackass because she liked that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I gave them to her, and she loved them so much.
How old is she?
She was 8. She died.
Oh God, what?
It didn't work out. But for a while it did. And she loved the Jackass. They raised her spirits, and we thought it was all working. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to get Johnny Knoxville to maybe, through people, like I talked to Sarah's manager or whatever, and Jeff's manager. She goes, you should ask Jeff because he knows Johnny really well.
Right.
And maybe he could get her to send an autograph or something because she really loves Johnny Knoxville. So I go to Jeff. I'm like, hey, I got this situation, and he goes, I don't know Johnny Knoxville, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, your manager said you did, so I'm sorry, I'm sorry I brought it up. So I'm re-editing this Jackass 2.
Yeah.
Jeff's in it with Johnny Knoxville in the limo. I'm like, what the fuck? And I go to his manager. He goes, yeah, you knew something was wrong. Jeff said he didn't know somebody. It was like, there's not a time when Jeff, oh yeah, that guy's my best friend.
I know.
So something happened between those two.
He's in it.
He's in the fucking movie.
You're in Jackass too. No, I'm not. All right, let's take a break. I'm gonna eat
Okay.
something. That is hilarious. Yeah, Jeff said he doesn't know somebody famous.
That's what I'm saying. There's no way that ever happens.
Hey, it's Artie. We're back. Big dinner in the city tonight. I wasn't at dinner. Dan feels he has to lie to people on Twitter when I don't feel they're owed anything really at all, except eventually us putting out a show, which doesn't always happen at the same time every day because I do have a very sporadic schedule. Today my ab workout went late. I have a trainer that comes. It's a gay guy. And a lot of times he has personal problems that he likes to go over with me after the workout. We're sitting there and he's like, there's a new guy in my life. I have a lot of very special things I like to share with young people about life. I've lived a life that a lot of people find experienced and filled with joy and sadness and everything in between. And I feel I can really give them a lot of life advice based on that life that I've led. And eventually they will have the life I had if they follow all my instructions, which are very difficult to follow. It's a very sporadic, all over the place map I leave.
Now, do you feel gay men or heterosexual men are more open to your
gay
life
guys,
advice?
Gay guys ask questions more easy. They're more. Artie, can I say something? And of course, I'm always nervous they're going to want to date me.
Oh.
And I usually go, wait, listen, I'm sorry, Chad. Before you go any further, I just have to tell you that I don't swing that from that side of the plate. But if I did, you certainly would be someone that I'd consider. And usually the response is, no, Art, I find you grotesque. I don't physically. I have no interest in dating you. And I'm like, whew, we ducked one there, didn't we? Ducked an awkward bullet there. And I don't know why that surprises me about gay men, because that's usually the response women have as well. But a lot of times, gay guys will be more open to a conversation. I think a lot of times straight men feel asking any life advice in and of itself is a homosexual act. Men like to go through life feeling they don't need any help. It's like the old hacky cliche, asking directions in a car. A man will just stay lost. And that's a metaphor for life, I believe. We will just stay lost before we ask for help. Because we feel asking for help makes us look like as we said on the playground, a gay wad. But this whole generation is based on asking for help. Therapy. Think of the fucking money the mental health field gets nowadays for people just acting like pussies. My grandfather came home from World War II. He was in a German fucking prison camp, working 3 jobs, living in basically the projects in Newark, 5 kids, running all over the place. 4 kids. Yeah, 4 kids. There might be a 5th one in Germany. We don't know. Coming home with no cash, just happy as hell not to be in a German prison camp anymore. Just happy. Running around. He didn't need any help. No shrinks. Nothing. He got up, tried to get a job, got a job, worked, got enough money to pay the rent, and all his kids went out and turned out fine. All his grandkids turned out fine, except me. I'm the family fuck-up. Oh, God, my grandfather, Sal Caprio, what a man. Salvatore Peter Caprio. My mother's father. My father's father died when he was 11. Very, very mysterious situation. I don't know what the fuck was going on. I know my father's mom, she passed away, my grandma Betty. She lived in a tiny apartment in East Orange, New Jersey, in the shittiest ghetto you could possibly imagine. She lived in the ghetto in an apartment the size of a closet, my grandma Betty, on pretty much until the last 10 years of her life when she moved into an old age home in Bloomfield, New Jersey. I mean, we used to go there for Thanksgiving, and it was like, the brothers were all over the place. What's up, man? Go see grandma? Yeah, man. All right, we looking out for. And my grandmother would always be like, Grandma, everything all right? Oh, I love they all take care of me. The Schwarzes. She wasn't a Jewish woman, but she loved the Jewish term, Schwarzer. She used it very affectionately.
That was used in my family.
Yeah, very affectionately, by the way. She loved the black people in her place, you know.
There was a T word that was also used.
What, T word?
Yeah.
What was that?
Titsoon.
Oh, well, that's not Jewish. That's Italian.
Right.
That's very Italian. That's a very anti-black slur. People think Moulignon is the hacky American version. Titsoon is a more of a, you know. But yeah, but my I don't know. My father might have threatened to beat up some of the black people in her place if they didn't watch out for her. But she had no fear, and we would go there, and really, a dangerous neighborhood in East Orange, right on the border of Newark, and her and my grandma, her and my father's older sister, my Aunt Ruth, and her husband, my Uncle George Carlesco. What a character, man! A real genuine Newark, fast-talking character, like something out of a Damon Runyon play or something, like Guys and Dolls, like fucking. He was a used car salesman. He had so many hilarious fucking stories. He went by a couple of different names, and there'd be guys looking for him. He had a secretary when he was a used car salesman. Would have all these different stories. Some guy came in once with a bumper that fell off a car he sold him. He sold the guy a car. The guy drove 4 blocks. The bumper fell off it. The guy came back with the bumper. And supposedly he told his secretary to tell him that he had left to go on a mining mission in South America. He's a character, man. And they'd always, Uncle George, he'd be at the Thanksgiving. We'd go over there. The food was very different at my Grandma Betty's than DiCaprio's. Very different. Very out of a can. My mother would tell us secretly, don't eat the food of your grandma's. Go to the bathroom and spit it out. And then you would go to my mother's side, though, it was and they took my father, and my father loved my mother's family. Loved her father, my Grandpa Sal. Loved him. Because, my father didn't know family like that. My father, grew up on the street. Literally was on his own at the age of 9. Living on the street in Newark, New Jersey. In the gutter. And he says his old man died at 11. My father claims he lost his virginity when he was 8 years old. Yeah. He was better with women than I was. I guess there was some fast living broad that lived across the street from him in that neighborhood. Makes sense. And he fucked her. I don't know how old she was. That is hilarious. And just the most street tough motherfucker you've ever met in your life. There's no one my father wouldn't fight. Not a person on earth. Unless the guy had a gun or something. He knew how to cop a plea, too. He thought that was very street smart, my father. My father would always teach me knowing how to get out of a fight if you can't win is just as street smart as, fighting anybody. Because, fighting anybody is for suckers. If you're going to lose, you don't fight. So I learned very different values from both sides. It was a very interesting combination. But my grandfather on my mom's side and the rest of my mother's family, her brothers, my Uncle Tommy and Bruce, my Aunt Dee, her sister, and all my cousins, they took my father in. They accepted him as, my mom's guy. And he felt a part of the family. And he really, really, felt affection for them. It was kind of a cool thing to see. And we were close in a way as a family in the late 70s when I started developing a lot of memories in life, when you're 9, 10 years old, into the early 80s, into my teens. We were a very close-knit family. We did everything together. My cousins, we'd always get together eating and going to ball games, just getting together and laughing. And again, my grandmother had one of those, places, Italian homes where every Sunday there was food. You just went and you ate. If you were around on Sunday and you were a cousin or somebody, you just went to my grandmother.
You watched the Bears game and then you ate.
We didn't watch the Bears game.
12-3, the Bears game.
Don't
and
make it your life.
Then you ate at 3.
We didn't even know. I didn't know the Bears existed. And you know, we just went. Just whoever was there was also eating too. There was raviolis. There was gravy. She'd get up and just start making gravy. Brajol. She would make brajol and it would, be tied up in the fucking gravy and the pork brajol, the beef brajol with mozzarella sometimes was in it. Oh fuck, man. And then you'd eat like that, and then you go out and play ball for fucking 15 hours. 15 straight hours. You play stickball, street football. There was no Nintendo Madden 40. We didn't have video games. There was no laptop to fucking talk to some asshole in Peru who also likes whatever the fuck you like. Who's also a fan of some stupid TV show on Netflix. You interacted with people. And it was just, it was a great time. And then my father fell in '85. He became a quadriplegic, and it seems like that was sort of a break in my family where we weren't as close after that for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if my father was any sort of glue keeping that together, but my life completely turned upside down, as did my mother's. I mean, think about that. The guy who went to work every day and climbed roofs. Making a living, whatever it was not much at the end, but dies. I mean, basically dies emotionally, falls off a roof. He lasted 4.5 years. My mother had to go to welfare offices. What do you do? There were people who were really friendly with my father, couldn't even look at him. One of your best friends can't move from the neck down. That was really hard to see him like that. I mean, one of the strongest guys physically you can imagine. Climb roofs like a monkey, man. Just jumping from roof to roof. He would get on a ladder and climb to the top of the roof, and he was able to go from house to house on the ladder. He would turn on the ladder, but the ladder would be on like one leg, and he would turn around, do a 180, and go to the other roof. And all of a sudden, that guy, he can't move from the neck down. Couldn't wipe his nose. I don't know. Sad times. Well, that shit, it develops you as a person. And then you go out. That was how I became an adult, and that's it. All that shit formed you, And then you go into the adult world, and for me, I had two choices. I could have been stuck around where I grew up. But what do? You take the cop exam, fireman's exam. What do you do? My mother always wanted my old man to take the fireman's exam for benefits because, he didn't have any working hanging antennas. And he never did it. No buddy, Bobby Badweenie, that was the guy's name. His daughter Cheryl went to school with me. He hung antennas too, and he became a fireman and retired at 50. With benefits and stuff. My old man fell when he was 42. I wouldn't have got there, but wasn't in the cards. But he just never did that. So my mother used to say to me, "You should think about the fireman's exam too." And I did. I thought about it. God, I would have been a terrible fireman. People think I don't get a dog or a cat because I hate dogs and cats. I don't get them because I like dogs and cats. I wouldn't subject them to me. But I didn't become a fireman because I want people to be saved. I would have been a very low efficient, very nonchalant, not into it fireman. The passion wouldn't have been there. You need passion for that. I didn't have it. Then of course, I got the job as a longshoreman. I made $70,000 one year. I was 21 years old. I made 70 G's at the port with the overtime. And I was like, wow. And of course, the smart money was on me staying there, and I couldn't do it. You have this thing in you. Sometimes I want to see the world. I want to travel. and at least see the country. And the only legal way I saw doing that, getting that kind of action, was stand-up comedy. I just went into New York one day when I was 19. I just went on stage and imitated people I saw on TV. I grabbed the microphone. I tried to do a bad Richard Pryor impression or something. Whatever the fuck they were doing. No schooling. And you wing it. But I got lucky. Very lucky. Yeah, that's what this country gives you. You know, these people the ISIS is able to recruit. I just don't get it. Why the fuck would you want to leave this country and go live like that? I mean, because they don't promise you paradise over there. These kids leave Minnesota, wherever the fuck they leave, and they go live in a suburban existence in Minnesota. And they go and they live in a mud hut. I mean, I was over there doing stand-up in Afghanistan. It is biblical there. I mean, you got people on the side of the road dressed in robes selling frankincense and myrrh. It's no shoes in the sand. Yeah. It's very crazy. Again, the human experience they have is so different from ours. If you grew up in Minnesota by the mall. So there's just something fundamentally wrong. Maybe these people are, maybe they're, something's got to be wrong with them mentally, or maybe there's something wrong with this country. I don't fucking know. All I know is I had zero opportunity compared to a lot of people. You know, I was able to buy a lottery ticket, an American lottery ticket, and it hit. I didn't hit the jackpot, but I hit enough. I hit enough to have a fine life. I have a very comfortable existence. So the point is, I am not an impressive person on any level, skill-wise, looks-wise, intelligence-wise. But you know, there's a shot. There's a lottery ticket out there for you. So, you know, if there's people, you know, there are a lot of people on Twitter, they sound mentally ill. Like, I need direction, I need help, I need to talk to you. I feel for you, man, but just don't give in. Don't give in to some crazy, temptation or crazy promise some of these motherfuckers make. That life is going to get any better anywhere else. It's not getting better than it is here. It ain't. You're at the pinnacle of existence in this country. The good old U.S. of A., man. This is just as good as it gets. I've been lucky enough to go around. Some of those European cities are fun, man. You know, Amsterdam, Paris, London. Those places they are a blast. But still, if I had my choice, I'd be here, no matter what. Full time, it's America. So the biggest surprise to me in this whole ISIS bullshit situation with the Middle East is that they're able to recruit people over the computer to leave here. And go there and go with them and somehow murder a bunch of people in this country to be with them. How the fuck does that happen? I don't know. I think the key is they didn't have my grandpa Sal. I think Sal Caprio is the key. If they had my grandfather Salvatore Peter Caprio, he's the key, he's the difference. If they had him, they'd not be going to ISIS. It would not be tolerated. And that's my monologue for today. I don't know. Yeah, I just watched Stephen Colbert interview Robert De Niro. One of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life. But Colbert, I mean, after watching Colbert interview De Niro, I know you might want to join ISIS. That I don't understand. I know De Niro looked like he wanted to join ISIS. But the point is, he's allowed to interview De Niro. De Niro's allowed to be De Niro. I'm allowed to comment on it. And that ain't happening in Syria. There's literally a person in Syria, the leader of Syria is literally like a cartoon character bad guy who is murdering and torturing people. It's a real life guy. And there's different opinions. Should we leave him there? Should we not? If we would take him out, is it going to become chaos like Iraq? And then what's going to happen because of that? Ted Cruz seems to think we should leave him there. And look, that's not him being a nice guy. That's him saying, look what happened when we took out other people like Hussein, blah, blah. He's right. What the fuck is going to happen over there? And what is it our business? I don't know. I'm just saying stay here. Don't listen to the bullshit. Stay fucking here. If you're working with somebody who looks like those two motherfuckers in San Bernardino, I don't know. Try to sit down and talk to them.
Call the Artie Quitter podcast hotline.
Play this monologue for me.
Yeah.
Go, honey, with the Birkin. Come here.
Well, no. First charge him the $6.99 and then play it for him.
I'll get you. Can have this for free if you contact us. If you contact us and you say a coworker might do jihad, unless he listens to this monologue, you can have it for free. Just this section. Or a discount. You could have this section for $3.95. Play this for me. I guarantee. I guarantee they'll probably kill more people. Try to find me and kill me. And I only hope there is that they hit Dan instead. Dan, if the terrorists came in here and you were the only thing in between me and them, would you sacrifice your life for mine, admitting that I'm more important to the world?
I don't think I've hit my stride yet.
Okay. Do you feel you have more to offer?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put that down as well. Things to do in 2016. Get new producer. Well, anyway.
Well, how can they get past the security in this building, first of all?
Security's very tough. Security's very tough.
You don't know how many times there's a knock at the door and we both look at each other like, who's that?
Who's that?
Yeah. Aren't they supposed to buzz before?
In the early 2000s, I had Dominican heroin dealers come here. And they were just knocking on the door. How'd you get up here? We'll call them Juan. How'd you get up here, Juan? Well, the guy downstairs, me and him are tight. Excuse me? You're tight? Yeah, apparently you need no credentials to get up there. Unless you're delivering me a pizza, then you need 5 forms of ID.
Yeah.
Send them up. The guys here with the pizza, send them up. All right, that brings me to, of course, our guest today, the great Richard Roeper. Richard Roeper is one of my favorite people. And after a healthy conversation with Ryan and Dave Juskow, that I'm sure you enjoyed, about life and laughter and love, I give you this, my anti-ISIS monologue for today, and a little tribute to Salvatore Peter Caprio. I thought about my grandpa today, Grandpa Sal. So this is for everyone who never had a chance to have the raviolis at my grandmother's on a Sunday, and never had a chance to go to the ghetto in East Orange and have the canned turkey at my other grandmother's. This is for those people. For all you motherfuckers out there. As Bono said on the U2 Live in Paris, today we're all Parisians. And with that, the great Richard Roeper.
Richard, can I hear you for a second?
87654.
Perfect.
Are we good? Let me know when we are ready, Grizzly. On the phone is arguably my most frequent guest. Certainly my favorite guest. A guy very informed about everything. And a guy that, when you get together, is very good with the witty banter. I'm not going to lie to you. And I enjoy hanging out with this guy. And it's relevant because the Star Wars bullshit phenomenon is spreading itself all over the fucking world again. And I think it's just, how many yachts can George Lucas water ski behind? Dave Juskow is also here, and Ryan Reese, 2 really funny comics. And I'm talking, of course, of the great Richard Roeper. What's up, Richard?
Hey, Artie, the way you say that, too, arguably, you can put almost anything there. Sadly, coming up next, unfortunately, it works perfect, no matter, for any occasion.
I never sound like I'm ready to start a parade. I got to get more excited. I've always, well, Richard, thanks, man. I got to tell you, the Star Wars thing, I'm over it. I don't even like. First of all, I saw Mark Hamill on some sort of red carpet. He looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi's grandfather at this point. He looks like Alec Guinness brought his grandfather to the premiere.
Well,
he's got that beard. He looks like Letterman, depressed Letterman.
Well, that's the thing. When they're putting this together, and J.J. Abrams was like, all right, we're going to set this basically 30 years after Return of the Jedi, so we could have the main trio, and they would be those ages. And it's like, okay, let's see who we've got. Now, Carrie Fisher, kind of her own choice, not really to do that much. She's always told people she's kind of nuts. She wants to live her own life. So
what she's done is electronic shock treatments. That's what she's done.
But but she doesn't care. You know what I mean? I don't think she cared. She grew up in a movie star household. She's kind of over that stuff. And they go, okay, so Carrie Fisher, she'll do it, and that'll be fine.
Yeah, when you do coke with your father at a Hollywood party when you're 14, it's sort of, you get jaded.
Yeah, and then you go, well, we got Harrison Ford, who went on to become one of the biggest movie stars in the world, so that'll be cool.
Yeah.
And then they go, and then we got Mark Hamill, and they're thinking, God, is there any way we could somehow pretend that Sean Connery had that role in 1977? You're kind of. I mean, could you just find someone that looks like Mark Hamill and Michael Caine as Luke Skywalker?
How about Dorothy Hamill would be better.
Dorothy Hamill, you know what? Same physique and similar haircut.
Yeah, well, yeah. First of all, I'm glad you mentioned Harrison Ford. He at this red carpet, I saw one of those idiot, like perfect looking Entertainment Tonight types is talking to him, and he is just so over life in Hollywood. He's goofing on them. He's like, Harrison, you having a good time? I'm having a great time. There's nothing else I'd rather be doing.
My theory is that, being with Callista Flockhart all this time, he said, I'm going to get out of the house for a while. I'll go promote this damn movie if I have to.
Callista Flockhart, eat something.
Yeah, but he's always been a guy where you're like, why did you get into show business? Did they not tell you about the interview part? Because he's always just looking at people. He'd even like snarl at Letterman. What are you asking me that for? I don't know who'd win a fight between Han Solo and Indiana Jones. They're both fake.
He doesn't care. He's over it. I mean, this guy used to be a carpenter on construction sites, and he was. I think he was over Hollywood by right after The Fugitive or before it. You get jaded. And Callista, I forgot about that. Harrison Ford is a big enough movie star to get a girlfriend with tits.
But it's one of those strange ones. It's like Woody and Soon Yi. After a while, they're some of the longest relationships in Hollywood. How frightening is that?
No, I know. Well, tell me about this Star Wars movie, quality-wise. Is it worth going to see? I mean, you said 30 years after Return of the Jedi. For me, so what does that make? In 1982? I don't know.
Jedi. Well, it means it was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, pal. All right, but here's the good thing is J.J. Abrams really knows what he's doing, and I'm not like the world's largest, hugest, most intense Star Wars fan, but I got to say for what he does with it, he resurrects the franchise. I mean, he knows how to make a great-looking movie,
right.
And he's really smart. It's almost like what they did with Creed. It's like, okay, you pay tribute to the original franchise, but then you introduce a whole bunch of new characters. So, the geeks in the audience, they'll see some obscure seventh, lead Sith Darth character reference, and they'll go nuts. But if you don't know what that means, you can still enjoy the movie.
Oh, I know. When I was on the Stern Show, someone went to Comic Con, like Richard and Sal, I think, when we got some tape of some guys who played like those Darths you don't know anything about.
Darth Nihilus.
Yeah, it was the guy who said, "Who are you?" He goes, "I am Darth Nihilus."
He's talking through the mask.
And a giant man through a mask voice. But
the only thing scarier is when those people, when they create like alternate, like fan fiction.
Yeah.
So they create a character that was never in any of the Star Wars movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, but could exist.
Right. Well,
so he's Darth Nihilus' long lost cousin.
Right.
Jim Nihilus.
Yeah. And then they get mad. Yeah. They get mad at you. Yeah. Gummo Nihilus.
Yeah.
They get mad at you for. They get mad at you for not knowing the character. Like, so first of all, I'm not insanely obsessed with it. Second of all, I don't live in your head where you created these things. And look, I was a fan of the film when it came out because I was 10.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They actually issued in a lot of cities. I know they probably did it in New York. They did it here in Chicago. They have guidelines for what you can and cannot wear if you go into the theater. You can bring a lightsaber, but not a real gun.
Yeah.
You can, and this is for real. You can bring like a Darth Vader mask or helmet, but you must take it off when the movie begins.
Yeah.
And it's one thing if you go to a Jets or Giants or Bears game and you want to put on a jersey or paint your face. Other people can see you. You'll be on TV. When you go to a movie, they turn the lights off. Now you're sitting there holding your lightsaber, wearing your Darth Vader costume.
You know what none of those people are ever wearing when they go to see Star Wars? The stench of pussy. The smell of a woman.
That to me,
the sweat of sex.
It is amazing to me. Like when all is said and done, it's just going to be a movie. And people say, could it live up to the hype? And I'm like, if you said Jesus was coming next Tuesday and he came out of the clouds, people would say, "Oh, Downey does a better job of flying than Iron Man." Nothing could live up to this hype.
No. But J.J. Abrams, you're right though. He is I am a fan of his stuff. He's a good guy and a brilliant guy. Well, Juskow, are you Dave Juskow here? Are you you're into a lot of things that are pretty intense. Are you into Star Wars?
I actually love Star Wars.
just saying, I bet you do.
I hate the episode 1, 2, 3. It makes me angry. I just want to.
Well, the last one sort of summed it up. Remember the last
No,
one
but
that
it
came
takes-
out like 2005? Or was that? I don't even know if that was the last one. I went to the Ziegfeld to see it with
me
all the
too,
guys
me
from
too.
Stern. And they,
But it takes 9 hours to tell the story of this guy becoming Darth Vader.
At
Not
the
necessary.
end, they fought, and you see how he became.
Nobody cares.
His father, right? So now, what are they doing? I don't understand it.
Well, see, what they're doing now, I mean, the great thing is the middle three were chronologically the first three, so you can just wipe those out.
Right.
But, as I
That's
said,
the best
so
part.
this one's really, in terms of what movies count, it's really the fourth, so it does take place after Jedi. So when Harrison Ford shows up as Han Solo and he looks like he's in his 70s, that's okay because they're human characters who would have aged that much.
Right.
So it actually, chronologically within that Star Wars universe, J.J. Abrams did a brilliant thing. He set it at just the right time where you say, okay, here's what happened, but a lot of shit has happened over the next 30 years. That's why we have all these new characters, but the original trilogy Trinity can show up, and it makes sense for them to live in that universe.
I would love it if metrosexual hit Star Wars and Chewbacca's completely waxed. No back hair.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Come on, man.
I'm sorry.
I must have heard that 5,000 times today. I wrote my review for the Chicago Sun-Times, and I did my my on-camera review, and. No matter, and I tried very carefully. I do want to respect that. There are a lot of interesting little twists and turns. You don't want to give it away, but one guy actually complained to me because I mentioned that Harrison Ford is in the movie as Han Solo, and I go, he's on the poster, dude.
Sorry.
That's not a spoiler alert. What do you think he's been doing on TV
Poster
all these
alert.
last months?
I know.
Oh, well, I'm not in the movie, but I think it's a heck of a picture.
Yeah.
Richard, I was upset to learn you're not a fan of Corvette Summer.
Is that? That's a great reference. Corvette Summer.
It's no eat my dust. Let me tell you that.
Well,
as far as mid '70s, roadster comedies go.
So, what is your review? Would you call it like a 4-star, 5-star? I don't know. Obviously, thumbs up. But is it a classic? Amazing? What is it?
I give it 4 stars out of 4. Because for what it wants to be,
4
it's
out of 4.
that
Okay,
good.
all right.
I really do. But I'm putting together my list of the 10 best movies of the year, and it's not to me. I'll give you a quick list of some of the movies that I think to me are going to resonate. If we get outside the Star Wars universe, Quentin Tarantino's movie, The Hateful Eight, is great.
Is it okay?
It's classic Tarantino where there's a bunch of characters and you think you know who they are, and then we kind of peel the onion layer back and go back in time and find out what the real motivation.
How many times is the N-word in it?
So many. I think it makes Django Unchained look like a politically correct press conference. That many.
You're kidding me, really?
Yeah.
I mean, the poster, Django Unchained, the advertising for that should have been Don Johnson says the N-word. And Leonardo DiCaprio. I guess these people they say, fuck it. For Tarantino, we'll get away with it, right?
Well, and every time you do see it, because in this movie, you've got Tim Roth and you've got Kurt Russell and Bruce Dern. And, Bruce Dern's played a lot of bad guys over the years, but I've known him a long time. In real life, he's just one of the sweetest, most educated, nicest guys. And just to see Bruce Dern just laying it out there at the age of 77, throwing out the N-word like it's 1918, it's a little jarring, but it's a great film. Another great film is The Revenant, the DiCaprio movie.
Oh, okay.
When that's based on a true story of a guy who literally got mauled by a grizzly bear, in the 19th century, but lived and then sewed himself up and then walked across the country to get revenge on the guy who left him behind.
Stop right there. He got mauled by a grizzly bear and sewed himself up?
Yeah, the bear picks him up and throws him around. And this is a true frontiersman by the name of Hugh Glass. This actually happened to him. What? I mean, and you watch this movie, and I know it's special effects, but it really looks like a bear is tossing Leo around, which is kind of fun, and ripping him to bits. And then so then he's left, and I don't want to give too much away, but he's left for dead. And then when he gets up, he starts building fires and then kind of using the stone to heal his wounds and sewing all kinds of crap into his body and burlap and stuff. And then he starts walking across the country just so he could knock on the door of the guy that screwed him over and say, guess what? And by the way, he kills the bear. That's not a spoiler because he does that in the middle of the fight. He finally gets the better of the bear.
Could the bear be played by Jay Cutler? Then I'll go. First of all, what about Jay Cutler's brother-in-law getting it in Utah? What do you think that's going to affect his play? You think Jay Cutler will play with a little passion now?
That's you got to feel bad because this kid, I guess, was depressed depressed. And
It's
everything,
terrible.
but-
It's one of the worst stories I've ever heard.
What happened?
Yeah.
I didn't hear.
You know, he's married to that chick from Laguna Hills, Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kristen Cavallari's brother.
brother.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay, got it.
Great looking young kid, had everything going for him, and
She's
just had a tough go at things. Look, the Bears, they've been amazing this year because they keep finding new ways to lose. Yeah, because they're right there, and then Robbie Gould, who's been one of the best kickers in the NFL in the last 20 years, all of a sudden this year he can't hit anything. That happens to kickers just like it happens to quarterbacks. All of a sudden one year they're like, they call him Robbie Good as Gold here, and it's like, we're going to tie the game against the Redskins, and Gold lines it up, and that's wide right. Have a good drive home, everybody. Enjoy your Chicago afternoon.
Well, I don't know. I think Cutler maybe could dedicate the season to the kid and play with some passion. He always looks a little dead. But you mentioned the movie Creed. About Apollo Creed, the next Rocky movie, and Stallone's original title was Greed. Again, what? I heard it's good, but how does he reinvent this now? It's Apollo Creed's kid.
Yeah, and the good part about it is the guy that's playing Adonis Creed, Michael B. Jordan, is like an up and coming. He's a really good actor. So he's another one of these actors who actually looks like he can fight a little bit.
Are there some Chicago people who went thinking it was Michael Jordan?
I know he didn't really have to put that B in. I mean, for legal reasons, he had to put that B in his name. We're pretty sure it wasn't the same guy.
They thought, hey, I thought it was Jordan.
But the same thing that's cool about this is one of the first times in movie history both Harrison Ford as Han Solo and then Balboa as Rocky.
I was going to say this Rocky movie I heard is also set 30 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, so 40 years after they originated the character, these guys are playing the same character. And that you think about that though. Stallone was 29, I think, when he made the first Rocky. And the whole story about how he could have sold the screenplay and they wanted Redford or McQueen to play Rocky.
I heard James Caan. Caan was supposed to. Imagine him in that back hair in the fight scene.
And he had to stay at the Fonz's house.
Well, James Caan was like, he would have been only 5 years past The Godfather, so he just comes out there with the garbage can lid and smacks the guy around the first.
He starts biting his knuckles.
You touch my sister again, I'll kill you.
Call me a meatball again, I'll kill you. But so is it good though? I heard it's good.
It's really good.
Wow.
It's really good. And Stallone actually is so good that he's probably going to get a supporting actor nomination.
Great. Good.
And he got nominated. He got nominated for Best Actor with the original Rocky.
He was up against. Was
I think
that the year he was up against Woody Allen and John Travolta
for screenplay?
Or was that the next year?
He was up for screenplay against Annie Hall or something, right?
Yeah, he lost. I think he lost Best Actor actually to Peter Finch, who won
for Network. Yeah, it was 76.
That was the next. So the next year was Annie. The next year was
Annie Hall.
Woody Allen, Richard Dreyfuss, and John Travolta all against each other. And that's why Richard Dreyfuss won in a controversy
for the Goodbye Girl.
That's exactly right. When Stallone lost, Peter Finch won because he was dead. Basically, right. It was one of those posthumous things. He was great in there, but he was in that movie for 10 minutes. He was the guy yelling, "We're mad as hell. We're not going to take it anymore." Faye Dunaway and William Holden were the stars of the movie.
Yeah, he's Governor Kasich. That's what Jay Leno made a really funny observation on Bill Maher's show that kind of went by the reference went by the crowd. But the Ohio governor Kasich in these debates, Leno said, "Hey, he looked like Peter Finch in the network." He does. If you look at him, he looks like he's going crazy. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore.
It's pretty good.
So I got to go see Creed. All right, I'll go. The thing about Stallone playing this Rocky character still is he's supposed to play this guy, sort of a rundown guy who's been ups, downs here, and he's supposed to be a rundown older man. And in reality, he's a 70-year-old billionaire who's had every plastic surgery and waxing, and he's had every trimmed fat off his neck. He looks perfect.
Well, usually hormone. Yeah, usually the other, they have to make the guys look better, and actually they do a nice job in the movie of making them look like a little bit of a punch-drunk, ex-pug. He's losing his hair and it's gray, and they kind of make him look a little thicker around the middle, and they give him the kind of cauliflower ear that boxers have.
Oh, okay.
They do a pretty good job of that. And he's still got that Rocky kind of unintentional wit, but there's also moments where he comes across like he would, like a doddering prize fighter who's trying to remember, what room he's in.
It seems like Hollywood has figured out the sequel. Like a lot of these sequels seem to be quality films, whereas you knew they were bad. Like Superman 3 with Richard Pryor. You knew that was you. You might as well burn $8. Jaws 4.
Superman 4 is actually even worse.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It's even worse.
Stuff like that. But now the last two Rocky movies, it seems like they say, okay, let's really go for making a quality film because we got a built-in audience, and they put the money into it, right?
That's a great point. They're taking a different philosophy now, too, and instead of saying we got to do, if it's a great movie, they'll probably do the sequel right after, but now they're kind of looking back into the catalog, and they're saying, what big hits could we look at and maybe revisit? So that's why next summer you're going to get the Independence Day sequel 20 years after the original Independence Day, and it's going to be set 20 years after the events of Independence Day.
The Will Smith movie?
Yeah, the Will Smith movie.
Jeff
and they're revisiting it, but there you go. It's like okay now they blew up the White House, but we fended off their attack. We've rebuilt America. It's 20 years later, and guess what? There's more of them. They're coming back.
Wow.
It's to me, it's more interesting if they had done right after Independence Day, if they just followed up with Labor Day. It's 2 months later.
Yeah, Arbor Day is going to be when you get you really got to make it a quality film. That is, my God. I mean, don't you think that old cliche, I think, is true? Hollywood's out of ideas. I mean, everything's a comic book. How many different Spider-Mans are we going to get? Different kids we got to say are the new Spider-Man, and we got to see him on the fucking red carpet.
Speaking of which, Richard, what'd you think of the new James Bond movie?
I thought it was good, but it almost feel like James Bond's greatest hits. Because Daniel Craig isn't going to do the role anymore, so much of it was almost like inside jokes.
But he's definitely not doing it anymore. I mean,
he's not going to do it anymore. And it's probably time for him to move on. But there were different scenes in there were echoes of other James Bond movies. If you say, oh, that fight scene on the train was from Goldfinger, or one of the villains had a reference to a previous Bond villain.
See, I like that though.
Well, I think that too.
I do too.
But where do you put Craig in the lineup of Bonds? Where do you put him?
I think people sometimes romanticize. I mean, Sean Connery is a legend, but you go back. I mean, I think Craig is as good as they've been because if the original source material, that's more what Bond was. He wasn't this super suave. I mean, he could put on a cocktail jacket, but he was a badass.
I think
and he wasn't.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I think he's much better than Pierce Brosnan or Roger Moore.
Right.
But I put him right there with Connery.
I think Casino Royale is the best Bond movie ever.
I love Casino Royale. That's the one I could watch over and over again.
Yeah, that's a great. You watch Casino Royale, then you go back and you look at, and again, they're very entertaining. But those old James Bond movies, first of all, they went on forever.
Yeah.
Remember when they used to play on Sunday nights when you were a kid with commercial breaks?
Yeah.
They'd be like, they'd start at 6 and you'd have to go to bed.
I know.
Thunderball will return after this word from.
I know. And it
God,
goes on as a Sunday night before, after a vacation to go back to school. Yeah. or like Ivanhoe with a little. that reminded me of going to school. Ivanhoe
or Ape Week.
The other thing.
Movie.
The other thing they're doing now, guys, which is a little frightening, is they're starting to remake movies that we remember, that I remember, when I was, 18 or 20. They've been old enough now that they're revisiting them. So, they tried to redo Vacation, which was a disaster.
Oh, I know. I saw that. I'm like, what the fuck?
Next week we get Point Break. As if Point Break is so long ago that it needs a whole remake done on it.
What the fuck is that? I mean, the Point Break, is it a remake of the movie or a sequel? It's a remake.
It's a remake, and they'll change it around a lot. But what they're doing now is they're dusting off hits from the 80s, basically, and they're saying, all right, well, it's been 30 years since these movies were in theaters, which means there's a whole generation of fans that either only know it through video or have never seen it. They don't know Patrick Swayze. So we'll just say, hey, look, here's Point Break.
Wow. How about Roller Boogie? Is that going to come back? Remember Roller Boogie?
With Linda Blair.
One can only hope.
3 Men
and a Baby.
3 Men and a Baby. How about that?
Yeah.
How about go right to 3 Men and a Little Lady? Forget
3 men that might be a lady.
I don't know if this is do you think this is a great time for movies in the history of, as far as quality is concerned? You got every technical advancement, but I don't know. It's kind of a hacky time,
No, I mean, it's not. I mean, what it's come down to is the studios make these huge movies, and yeah, they look great. But honestly, even though I love some of the Superman movies, like The Dark Knight, which I don't consider to be really superhero movies, but I couldn't care less if I saw The Avengers again. I mean, how many times are they going to rip up Manhattan or downtown Chicago?
That's it, really. It's over. Yeah, you're right.
So you got the studios making these huge pictures, and then there's a lot of cool independent films, smaller films that are out there. But overall, it's not the greatest time for movies. We've talked about this before. It's the greatest time for television.
Yeah.
I mean, you got all these series on Amazon Prime and Netflix and Hulu, and if you list the 10 best or 15 best TV shows of the year, the 10 best movies of the year, even as a movie critic, I'd rather watch the TV series.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Something else I got to ask you as a Chicago icon, my friend. What's going to happen over there? It is craziness with the Rahm Emanuel shit. I know you don't like to get political, but
No, I don't mind.
What's going on over there? I mean, listen, that cop. The video of that cop shooting that kid, I'm telling you, with the right lawyer, that guy could get a hung jury. I'm telling you. And then you might as well move out of Chicago.
Yeah, well, for people that don't know yet, I mean, the crime rate isn't really changed in Chicago. What's changed is these, dashboard cams and these other videos and stuff where people get to see what happens. So we've had 3 or 4 cases now where when the video comes out, and yeah, we don't know everything that happened up to that moment, but when you see a kid not even running, but walking down the street with a knife the size of a nail clipper, and he's 15 away from a dozen cops, and one of them unloads 16 shots into the kid, including a dozen when he's on the ground. It looks like murder, and you understand why he's being charged with murder. So, the city's a tinderbox. There's no doubt about it. Almost every day you go downtown, there's protests and stuff. But I do see a lot of the stuff, especially like, the conservative media love to talk about Obama's Chicago. And they're like, a city in flames, or, and the truth is there have been almost no arrests. People, the protesters, people marching down the street, chanting for stuff. It's not like they're getting into big battles with cops.
It's funny, you just said something that is a sign of the new world. You just said the term conservative media, which, that's what Fox News has done. There's definitely a conservative side of the media that a lot of times they shoot themselves in the foot. I think it was needed because you should have both voices there. But they say stuff that's so ridiculous sometimes they shoot themselves in the foot. But if you don't want to answer this, I understand. But do you think there's any way Rahm Emanuel didn't see that video?
No, I mean, it's to me, no. I don't think there's any way in the world, because I know enough about Rahm. He micromanages everything.
Yeah.
And when this was all coming out, he used to call the superintendent of police every single morning and just get what happened in the city. What do I need to know about? So the idea that this video was going to come out and he, like everybody else, waited to see it on Channel 5. Yeah. I don't believe that for a second. And I would have said up until a month or so ago, there's no way in the world he'd resign. But man, everywhere he goes now, he was at a school in Chicago on the South Side. It's actually it's called Urban Prep Academy. They got 100% graduation rate. These are like great kids who do great things. And he was down there for an assembly, and they started chanting 16 shots, 16 shots. Talk about that video.
That's all he needs, Jesus.
But it's like everywhere he goes, that happens now. So I don't know how you wash that off. I don't think you do.
Well, Dan Filato's he's loyal. He's going, no way he saw it. Didn't see it. No way. Of course, Dan also claims in 10 years he only saw Mark Grace naked once. 10 years of living.
And I was going to say, why should he leave town if Steve Bartman hasn't?
Steve Bartman's that's funny. That cop is number 2 on the worst people in Chicago list. Bartman and the guy who killed the guy.
Number 2.
All right, well, listen, Richard, you're always great, man. I really appreciate you coming on, and happy holidays, brother.
All right, thanks, guys. Love you, Artie. I'll talk to you soon.
Love you, too. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
The great Richard Roper. He's a good man and a good guy to know in Chicago. I've hung with him there. It's a good town. I hate to, whatever you think about Trump, the greatest hotel maybe in the world is the Trump International Hotel and Tower in Chicago. Holy shit. The 16th floor on a summer afternoon. It is the hottest waitresses you've ever seen in your fucking life. And they all got that Midwest friendly.
American.
Oh, very American.
He checked the papers.
Very,
American.
Very milk fed. White bread. Oh, yeah. They're slow getting to the door. That type of thing. I'm getting lost in Chicago. No, yeah, that's a great. What used to stand on that site where the Trump Tower is? You said the Chicago paper, right? The Sun-Times?
The Sun-Times building.
Was on that site.
Yeah.
You got to stay there. It's unbelievable. And it's got condos. the top 15 floors are condos. It's the building that what's his face, the first winner of The Apprentice that Trump let him be in charge of, right? What's that guy's name?
Bill Rancic.
He always hesitates to seem not gay. Bill Rancic.
He was on the DirecTV show.
I know. Well, I forgot him.
I've never been to Chicago. Can you believe that?
Really?
No, never.
Well, they always mention that to me when I go there. Chicago's a great town. 4 months of the year.
Right.
In the winter, I went there for the first time to play Zanies in February, and I didn't realize the other times I was there was always the summer. I didn't realize it. And oh my God, I was dating Dana at the time, my girlfriend. We were at the Four Seasons. I broke even for the weekend. I made this whole fucking thing for her. That ended in an argument. But walking down the street, the wind is like it goes through. There's ropes on the side of the building that old people hold so they don't get blown away.
Really?
Literally. Wow. It goes through your bones. It's chilling, the cold. So, but in the summertime, it's like being Lake Michigan's like a beach. It's when you fly into Chicago, you see Lake Michigan, that beach there. It looks like